What is going on, you guys? Sports Runs on Diesel back at you here with another episode. And today we're going to be talking about Week 10 of the NFL season. And let's just get right into it. Obviously, first up, Colts Titans divisional matchup, Thursday night football game. Colts win 34-17. And to be 100% honest, this division just got so much tighter now thanks to the Colts winning this football game. Now Indianapolis and Tennessee are both sitting atop of this division at 6-3. Obviously, not worried about Houston or Jacksonville because both of those teams are clearly out of the playoff picture this year. With that being said, both teams have big key matchups going into Week 11. And we're talking Indiana goes and plays Green Bay at home, and then Tennessee plays goes to Baltimore and plays the Ravens. So this is two big and key Week 11 matchups. And honestly, like I say, every week we will see how this all plays out. Not just with this division, but the rest of the division. There's still too many football games left in the regular season for this to keep going. So, in order for us to get a better, clear playoff picture, we need to be at week 14, week 15, and we'll start getting a better, clear playoff picture. Because honestly, in the AFC right now, there's 6 teams that are 5-6 teams that are all tied at 6-3. And it is all pending off tiebreakers and stuff, who won what and stuff. But, let's go into this week's football games and continue in this. But Bucs Panthers, another divisional matchup. Bucs absolutely creamed the Panthers, even though the first half was a lot tighter than people thought it was going to be. No Christian McCaffrey again, unfortunately. But Tom Brady throwing the air out of the football, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns. And honestly, Tom Brady has made a living off of games. Honestly, when he has a bad showing, like what we saw against the Saints, 3+ interceptions, normally you feel bad for the next team that he's going to be up against because they're going to have no chance, absolutely no chance to beat this team, to beat him or his football team. With that being said, Tom Brady is 7-2 in his career with 16 touchdowns and only 1 interception in career games following 3+ interception games. So keep that in mind. When Tom Brady has a bad game, the next game he's going to go lights out. And and you saw it there, another touchdown for Rob Gronkowski. Jones Jr. going nuts, 192 yards on the ground off of 23 carries and a touchdown as well. But with that being said, I mean, the Bucs are going to be right there neck and neck with New Orleans. Moving on, Browns, Texans. The Browns win 10-7 in this ball game, and I'm a little bit surprised the Browns won a low-scoring ball game and this is the first time this season, or within the last the first time this season they have not scored. Because, like I said, if you guys watch my videos from before, the Browns either score 30 or more points or 6 or less points. They only score 10 points, but it's more than 6-7 points. So to see them finally win a game where they don't go off, and honestly, they really didn't even have a great. The only thing you can take away from this Cleveland Texans game is Chubb and Hunt. These two guys have been running like crazy all over the field. In my personal opinion, the best running back tandem in the league. And with that being said, they both rushed for over 100 yards on the ground. Chubb has the only touchdown for Cleveland in the ball game. And, the rest is history. I know a lot of people are upset with Chubb running out of bounds late in the game, but you got a first down. There's 1:05 left. Houston's out of timeouts. Guess what? You run the clock out and make sure there's no chance for this football team to get the ball back. Even though if you score a touchdown, really the game's still over. But a lot of, with that being said, a lot of Las Vegas people were upset he didn't score that touchdown. But with that being said, because I don't even think that Cleveland was favored by more than 3 points, if I remember correctly. So a lot of Las Vegas people were not happy about that. With that being said, Eagles, Giants, this division is now getting tighter and tighter by the game here. And yes, I know Philly's 3-5-1. Guess what? Philly's next game is at Cleveland. The Giants, unfortunately, won't be able to play the. I mean, they're on a bye week this week, so in week 11 here, so it's all gonna. If Philadelphia loses to Cleveland, and we expect them to lose to Cleveland, with that being said, Philadelphia is never out of a football game. They always have this grit and grind football way about them, and they find a way to pull off games. With that being said, this division is so tight right now. I mean, you got Philly at 3-5-1. Literally, the Giants are right there, 3-7, with that 27-17 victory over the Eagles last week. And then Washington and Dallas are both tied at 2-7 at the bottom of the division. The only thing I can take away from this is Daniel Jones in this football game. Very accurate throwing, 21-28. He threw for 244 yards, 64 yards on the ground with 9 carries, and that touchdown run, I think it was like 25, 30 yards at least. With that being said, the Giants are right there for this division, and they need a little help from Philadelphia in order for them to win this division. I believe these two teams play in a head-to-head matchup in the upcoming weeks. So whoever wins that game, I believe, will win this division. But all these teams are right there for the division. And with that being said, moving on. The game of the week, Buffalo, Arizona, Bills and Cardinals. What a fantastic game this was. It goes down to the wire. A beautiful throw by Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs. Unfortunately, and I said it after they threw the touchdown pass. There's like 34 seconds left and change. I've never seen Kyler Murray go down the field with this much time left. But with that being said, I wasn't surprised how the game ended, even though I was surprised that 3 Buffalo Bills defenders could not get the ball out of DeAndre Hopkins' hands. Like, I still can't believe it. Like, to be running to your left, to barely set your feet and throw a ball 50, 60 yards in the air and it gets to the end zone. I mean, this kid is starting to take over Russell Wilson's name for MVP of the league this year. If it keeps trending like this, Russell Wilson is not going to be MVP. Now, he will get votes for MVP, but he will not be the MVP. But Murray, again, not only beat you in the air, well, he literally beat them in the air this game, but he also beat you with his feet, 61 yards, 2 touchdowns on 11 carries. I mean, there's not enough to say about this guy. Obviously, Hopkins, we know about the touchdown catch, and this is why Arizona, I still, if you're Houston, if you're a Texans organization, you're still scratching your head on why you gave up, why you traded away this fool. And honestly, everyone in Houston needs to get fired. You know, like, for real, because I still can't believe they got rid of this guy. And honestly, Houston would not be 2-7 right now if they had DeAndre Hopkins. I'm just throwing that out there. With that being said, moving on, Broncos, Raiders. Obviously, this was not even close to the game. I'm not going to get into detail here. 37-12, rated. The Raiders. I mean, they have a huge game coming up here next week. Week 11, they are playing again. They are home against Kansas City. We obviously know they beat them once. If they beat them again, that tightens the division. There'll be 1 game back of tying them up at the division lead. Don't have to worry about Denver and the Chargers because they're nowhere near it. But honestly, this is probably the game of the season for Kansas City and Las Vegas because honestly, with that being said, if Las Vegas wins this game, I mean, obviously Las Vegas is going to need help from another football team to beat them. Now, I'm not saying the Patriots are going to beat them. No, I'm just kidding. The Patriots didn't beat them because that was in week 4. Cam Newton wasn't playing that football game. They can't get any help from them. There's a lot like I said earlier, there's a lot more football left to be played, and the Raiders need help from another football team. If they win this game, it's great and all, but they need help from another football team to not only tie this division, but if they go at the end of the season and they both have the same records, the Raiders are going to have the season sweep. They'll have the tiebreaker. So the Raiders need to win this game ultimately first before they can get help from anyone else. Up next, Seahawks, Rams. Rams defense. This defense is starting to come along here, and they're coming along real fast. They had 6-7 sacks on Russell Wilson, one of the hardest quarterbacks to sack in the NFL, in today's NFL. And what ends up happening? Not a single sack was counted to Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald didn't get a single sack in this football game, and they still had 6 or 7 sacks. And a fantastic job by Jalen Ramsey on DK Metcalf. This is why they brought him to LA, and he's absolutely proven why he is practically the top corner in football. And what a fantastic job he did on DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf only had like 2 catches, 36 yards or something like that. It doesn't matter. Seahawks lose, and now we have a 3-way tie in the NFC West Division with Arizona, the Rams, and the Seahawks. And guess what? Right now, the Seahawks would not be in the playoffs right now if the playoffs started today. The Seahawks wouldn't be in the playoffs because they've lost to Arizona and they have lost to the Rams just last week. And the Rams have won 5 of their last 6 games against Seattle. And it seems like divisional matchups always seem to have Russell Wilson's number. And I understand you see him twice a season, but give credit to this Rams defense. This Rams defense is the reason why they're top of the division at 6-3. It's a 3-way tie up there. And big week coming up, and it starts on Thursday Night Football. We have the Cardinals and the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. Huge divisional matchup. I believe whoever wins this game could possibly win the division because now you put yourself ahead. But if the Seahawks beat the Cardinals, now it's, if it comes down to a tiebreaker, they went 1-1. So now you got to go to a second tiebreaker, which I believe is points away from home or something like that. With that being said, moving on to the next game, Ravens, Patriots, Sunday Night Football. What a fantastic game this was. The only reason why the Patriots won was because of the rainy conditions. Let's be real here, folks. We know good and well the Patriots didn't deserve to win this football game. Wrong. They did deserve to win this football game. They played fantastic up to that fourth quarter, and you could just see it coming. But was it like 3-4 drop passes in that fourth quarter by the Ravens wideouts, and that costed them the football game, unfortunately, because of rainy conditions. And honestly, the Patriots were this close to letting this game up. And thanks to the rain, they hold them off. You beat the Ravens. And as much as I want to say New England, here's that little run I'm talking about. New England's got tough road ahead of them. They play at Houston next week. But after that, you got the Chargers, you got the Rams, you got the Cardinals. In the next 3 weeks after Week 11's game at Houston, they play, I think it's Arizona, Rams, Chargers. And I'm thinking to myself, now, they should beat the Chargers, let's be real. But Justin Herbert has been going off. And if he has a healthy Keenan Allen and a healthy Mike Williams, forget it. It's like this kid is throwing the air out of the football. He's obviously the contender for Rookie of the Year. And we will see how that plays out after this week against Houston. They should beat Houston. That brings them to 500. But the tests are going to be the last 3 weeks of the season for the Patriots, where they'll play Miami and they'll play Buffalo a second time. Obviously, the Jets is the last game of the season. Not worried about that game, but Dolphins and Buffalo after this 5-game stretch of where they play some of the toughest teams in the league. And honestly, looking at the remaining schedule, I think they're top 5 toughest remaining schedule. So it's a long road for the Patriots before they even think about coming close to a playoff playoff berth, but time will tell. Moving on, Chargers, Dolphins. I mean, I can't believe what's going on with this Dolphins football team. They're one of 3 teams to win their last 5 games this season in the last 5 weeks, and they beat the Chargers 29-21 here. Obviously, 6-3. Miami starts 6-3 for the first time since 2001. Practically since the beginning of the Belichick and Brady era. And this football team is right there. Buffalo has a bye week this week. This is the opportunity for Miami to tie this up and make it go down to the divisional games at the end of the season. With that being said, Buffalo has a bye week this week, so I mean, oh man, this is crazy. I mean, Miami, I was not expecting Miami to go off like this. Tua's playing well. This defense has forced 10 turnovers in their last 5 games. And honestly, the defense is not only creating turnovers, but they're getting defensive touchdowns too. I think they've had 3 defensive touchdowns in their last 3 games. So it's not only the offense that's creating it, but the defense is creating offense, and the offense is even on the field. So this Miami defense is playing fantastic right now, and I will not be shocked if Miami overtakes Buffalo, even though we know Buffalo is the better team overall. We know Buffalo's a better team, but man, Miami is right there in terms of knocking off this Buffalo team and winning the division. With that being said, Monday Night Football, Vikings, Bears. Vikings win 19-13. Obviously, Thielen, 2 touchdown receptions off of 4 catches. Chicago loses 4 straight going into their bye week. I'm not even going to get into it because, honestly, I do believe ever since Nick Foles has become starting quarterback, they barely average 16, 17 points a game. And Nick Foles is, as much as I want to say don't put Mitchell Trubisky back in, I mean, it's going to come down to that, but there is a lack of creativity on the offensive side of the football when it comes to play calling. We know what the defense is capable of. We know what that Chicago Bears defense is capable of with Hicks, Fuller, Mack. I mean, they got a great defense. With that being said, this Bears team is not going to win this division. You got Green Bay, who I have picked to win the division. They're at 7-2. They play Indiana this week. Chicago's on the bye week. Minnesota's at Dallas. Detroit's at Carolina. This division can get close in a hurry. And but I'm not even making a case for that. I'm not making a case for the Minnesota Vikings. They have a long way to go, but it starts with you getting the ball into your playmakers' hands. And now I'll give Chicago credit. They held Dalvin Cook down big time in this football game. But if Dalvin Cook's not going off, give the ball to Thielen. I mean, Kyle Rudolph had some big catches in this football game. You give credit to Minnesota pulling out the win in Chicago on a cold day. With that being said, I mean, looking forward to Week 11. There's a lot to take away from Week 10, but Week 11, it obviously starts off with that divisional matchup: Seahawks, Cardinals, Thursday Night Football. This is going to be a fantastic game, and like I said earlier, whoever wins this football game will win the division. But Russell Wilson's got to get back on track, and he needs to go off, and it starts with this game against the Cardinals. With that being said, thank you guys so much for all your time. Stay tuned for more videos, more content coming up. Obviously, the NBA draft happened on Wednesday night. Is happening on Wednesday night. I am not planning to do a video for draft night. With that being said, there's more details about the upcoming NBA season. I will do a video on that. Stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for your time once again. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks again. I will see you guys all in the next one. Deuces.